Good day, guys. Welcome to Endurance Room. Today we're looking at the Plash Palatka and how to use 3 of them to make an enclosed shelter. A few days ago, Catherine and I were out at Harriman State Park and we did an overnighter using 3 Plash Palatkas to set up an enclosed shelter. I did a brief walkthrough of our setup and gave some details of how we used a bipod and a little bit of bank line to rig up the shelter. But today, I thought we'd look at setting it up in a different way. Check it out. To set up the first variation, I'm just going to run my paracord ridgeline between these 2 trees. I've looked overhead to make sure there's no standing deadfall that I have to worry about, and my site is secure. On my ridgeline, just about 30 feet of paracord, I've got a small bowline tied in the end, and then I keep 2 prusik loops secured on the line. These let me toggle off my shelters and slide them into tension. Here's a look at how I've got my Palatka suspended. My prusik loop on my paracord ridgeline is just dropped down through, and this wooden toggle has been inserted through, locking it up from the inside. Now we stake off the Palatka, starting with the back 2 grommets where the 2 overlap. You want to pull the corners back at a slight angle from the center stakes. This will give your corners some height. And there you have a quite adequate, sufficient shelter for your basic camping needs. That's using 2 of the Palatkas to make a 3-sided structure. You got room to sit underneath it. It'll hold a 5x7 space blanket, no problem. And then some. You've got room for yourself, 2 people and gear. Now let's take a look at adding the 3rd Palatka to the structure. I simply lower the paracord ridgeline to release the tension from the shelter, adding the 3rd Palatka in. I make sure the armhole is facing down and then rehoist the paracord ridgeline, suspending the shelter. I stake it all out, pulling all the corners taut, which leaves you with something like this. Not great. To fix all that, I've just got some bank line here. I'm going to take about 9 feet. Taking the end, making a bite, folding it over onto itself, and then folding it in half. That gives me my loop. Then I'm just going to take a little piece of deadfall here, break off a little toggle. I'm going to take this loop and insert it through the Palatka's buttonholes and drop it down in and use the toggle as an anchor. So from here, I just take the end of my line and continue the process on down. If you take the remaining cord, you can run it up to your ridge line or a stake in the ground and get some height on that side wall. You're essentially using the cordage as a guideline. So that improved that wall quite significantly as far as space on the interior of the shelter goes. If I have enough room to sit under the shelter, I'm great. Now let's take a look at using 3 poles to set it up, much like a teepee. To set up our teepee, I've gone ahead and collected 3 saplings. They're about 9 feet in length. a piece of cordage about 2 foot long, making my same knot, dropping a toggle through. I'm just going to secure it off on one of the arms of the tripod. So there you have the same structure suspended with a tripod. So we're losing quite a bit of room right there. Let's extend the back wall and get a little bit more. Just using the cordage from my Palatkas, putting a loop around my tent stake. So it gives you a little bit of airflow at the back of the shelter. If you want to close it off, just lower it down. To give you an idea of the floor space, I've got my space blanket laid inside. It's 5 by 7. I've got my sleeping bag and bedding all laid out. Room for my gear. Definitely room for one more person in their gear. If you're camping out in it, you've got room for your fire right up front. You can seal it off, close it up. It is sub 10 pounds for a canvas tent that you can close off. That's quite the bargain. Right on, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This was just a quick look at setting up 2 different shelter options with the Plash Palatkas. We used 3 of them to set up a pyramid or Tipi style configuration with both a ridgeline and a tripod. It's an awesome shelter. Out of all the configurations I've run in the last 9 months, using 3 in this fashion it's pretty sweet. If you got a couple of Palatkas laying around, I suggest giving it a go. It's not too hard to set up. Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed. Please hit like and subscribe to help support the channel. We've got a 1,000 subscriber giveaway coming up soon. Make sure you're subscribed to enter. Take care.